right angle. In this case, the example I'm going to work through has 3 sides, 5, 6, and 8. We're given all 3 sides, but we have to work out an angle. And the main thing to remember is how to label that triangle. Remember, sides and angles that are opposite each other have the same letter. It's just that one's a capital and one's a small letter. So angle B, which is a capital B here, is opposite side B, which is a small b. So anytime you see an A, a B, or a C, they refer to sides. Anytime you see a capital A or a capital B or a capital C, it refers to angles. So this is in your tables book, so you don't have to learn it off. It's in your formula tables. So let's start off by labeling our triangle here. This is angle A, so we'll call this side A because it's directly opposite. Let's just call this B then, which means that that would be angle B, which we don't have to find, but we'll fill it in anyway. And then this must be C. So that would be angle C. Okay, so labeling the triangle. Now just to say, if you're in an exam or if you're doing a question and you're struggling with how to start something, if it's not a right angle triangle, then at least label the sides and angles in your triangle, and it might help you when it comes to looking at the rules. So remember, what we do, the first step is it a rat? Is it a rat? No, it's not a right angle triangle. We're not told any of the angles, so we're not told if it's a right angle triangle. We're assuming it's not. Can I use the sine rule? If I could use the sine rule, I'd have 3 out of 4. So let's see, the sine rule would be A over sine A is equal to B over sine B is equal to C over sine C. Do I have that? I have A as 6, but I don't have angle A. I have B is 8, but I don't have angle B, and I have C is 5, I don't have angle C. So no. No, I cannot use the sine rule. I don't have 3 out of 4. Okay, I have 2 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 6, but not 3 out of 4. So I'm going to have to use the cosine rule. So the cosine rule says that a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Now, I used to teach this that we'd learn the rearranged version, but I think the rearranged version is too hard to learn. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the version that we have, and we're just going to look, in a minute we'll see that we have to rearrange things to find out a, because this is what we're looking for, isn't it? We're looking for the cosine of a so we can find a. We're looking for angle a. So we'll need this, but look, it's all connected into the rest of this. So we're just going to have to be very careful how we unravel that in a minute. But let's start off by subbing in what we have. So we have that a is 6. So 6 squared is equal to b, which is 8, 8 squared, plus c, which is 5, 5 squared, minus 2 by 8 by 5, 2 by b by c, cosine a. So all we haven't been able to fill in here is cosine a. Now, again, if you have a question in an exam or a test and you're trying to get marks and you're really stuck, you've already got what's called a low attempt mark for filling that in, for writing down the formula correctly and filling in the numbers. So if, say, it's a 15-mark question, you've probably already got 7 out of 15 for doing that. Okay, so bear that in mind each time. Don't panic when you come to a question. Just do what you can. Now, let's do these numbers. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. 5 squared is 25. Okay, that's all good. Now, remember I said yesterday, it's kind of like this is in a bracket. I have to multiply all these together first before I subtract. So let's do the multiplication we can do. So minus 2 by 8 is 16 by 5 is 80 cosine a. Okay, so I'm doing really well here. I've subbed in my numbers. I've squared out the ones that I can. It's still looking messy. Now, as I said yesterday, it's like this is in a bracket. So I'm just going to put a faint bracket around that. I can't get that 80 away from the cos a at present. If you remember back to when we did algebra and equations and we were moving things around in formulas, this is really tightly connected. They're basically glued together, and I can't do anything about separating them until they're the only thing on this side. So I'm going to have to get rid of these guys away from this side. So I need to get rid of that 64 and I need to get rid of that 25. Okay? and then I'll be able to deal with it. So what I've got here is 36 minus 25 minus 64 is equal to minus 80 cos A. I've subtracted these so they're gone. And I've subtracted them from this side as well because I have to do that. So what I have is 36 minus 25 minus 64 equals minus 53. So what I've got is minus 53 on this side, and I've got minus 80 cosine A on this side. Can you see how I did that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the difficulty here, and this is where people will get confused, is this is the minus 80 now, which is tied up with the cos A, and that minus 80, I don't want it to be there anymore. I want it to be gone. If minus 80 times cos A equals minus 53, I need to find out what once cos A is. In other words, I have to divide both sides by negative 80. Now the mistake that people make is really with magic maths. They say, I want to move that minus 80 over to the other side, and they make it a plus 80, and they write minus 53. They write minus 53 plus 80 equals cos A. That's wrong. Okay? That negative 80, to get it away from that cos A, I have to divide by negative 80. So the negative 80 is multiplying by the cos A. If I use magic maths, if the negative 80 is multiplying by cos A, then when I move it across to the other side using magic maths, it divides. It's multiplying here, so it divides here. So what I have now is that I have that negative 53 over negative 80 equals cos A. And now we're almost there. Negative 53 minus 53 divided by minus 80 equals 53 over 80. Which is 0.6625. So this is looking okay now. I know that cos A is 0.6625. So if you remember, then A will be equal to cos inverse 0.6625. Remember, if we have the cosine or the sine or the tan of an angle and we want to find the angle, we use the inverse button. So shift cos 0.6625 equals 48.5 degrees. So this angle here, A, is 48.5 degrees. So again, how did I do that? I did shift cos 0.6625 equals, and it gave me 48.5 degrees. Or if I wanted to, I could say 48.51 degrees, but I think it's enough to say 48.5 degrees. In degrees, minutes, and seconds, in case you needed that, it's 48 degrees, 30 minutes. Okay. Any questions on that? If not, I'll just do another example. But if you have a question about any step of that, please let me know. Hang on, I'll pause the video. Okay, so as I said earlier, we've renamed the triangle so that this is angle A rather than angle B as it was. And I've just gone through the steps there of trying to decide whether to use the cosine rule or not. So now I'm going to sub in what I have. So A is 7. So the side opposite the angle we're looking for is always still by itself on this side. So A is 7. 7 squared is equal to B is 10. 10 squared plus C is 9 squared. Minus 2 by, now I put it in brackets, but you can use multiply symbols. I just think they get a bit confusing. 2 by 10 by 9 cos A. Or you might have it written like this. 10 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 by 10 by 9 by cos A, which is equally fine. Okay, maybe I'll do it this way just because that's probably what most of you have done. So 7 squared is 49, 10 squared is 100, 9 squared is 81, 2 by 10 is 20 by 9 is 180 cos A. Were you okay? I'm just going to pause it here. Remember, this is all stuck together very tightly with maths glue. I can't separate them at present. I've got to get rid of these two first. So I'm subtracting 100 here and subtracting 81. I'm subtracting 100, subtracting 81. So I've got 49 minus 100 minus 81 is equal to minus 180 cos A, because those have been subtracted, they've been taken away. So I've got 49 minus 100 minus 81 equals minus 132 is equal to minus 180 cos A. Did you get to that point? Yeah, okay, good. Next thing we do then, we're going to try and disconnect this minus 180 from cos A. And the way we do that is we divide by minus 180. Because that's minus 180 times cos A. So to get rid of that minus 180, I have to divide by minus 180. If I divide this side by minus 180, I have to divide this side by minus 180. So I've got minus 132 divided by minus 180 equals 11 over 15, or 0.73 recurring, which is what? 0.7333, etc. And that, these two have now cancelled. So that equals cosine A. Anybody get to the stage where you had cos A equals 0.73 recurring?
I got to the part where negatives showed up, then thought, well, this must be wrong.
Okay, these negatives here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I failed to realize that 180 was negative as well, which balanced it out.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, because if you did get a negative cos, it would have been, as you say, a problem. So, yeah, the two negatives will, as you say, balance each other out. They'll cancel each other out. So I'm going to do shift cos 0.7333 equals 42.83 degrees. So A, so I did shift cos 0.7333, and I got A is equal to 42.84, rounding that 6, losing that 6 rounds it up to 3, 42.84 degrees, or rounding it up to the nearest degree, well, the nearest one decimal place would be 42.8 degrees, and rounding it up to the nearest degree would be 43 degrees, which I think I said what was the answer to you. Okay, let me just stop the video.